भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Let us now pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all. Thou art all. Thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Atma me shuddhyantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasagam swaha. May my physical being be purified. I am of the nature of light, and I am bliss itself. I am pure. I am immortal. Om Antaratma me shuddhyantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasagam swaha. May my psychic being be purified. I am luminous by nature. I am pure, sinless, immortal, ever perfect. Paramatma me shuddhyantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasagam swaha. May my innermost being be freed. I am the purest. I am the self-luminous. I am the immortal, all-pervading Brahman. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us meditate on our innermost being, our core of personality, our true self, as a spark of light in our heart. and let us feel that it is becoming brighter and bigger. I see it has filled my whole being. And it has filled the whole universe. Everything, all names and forms are dissolved in this luminous oneness. In this, there is no birth, no death. In this pure, luminous nature of mine, I am beyond time and space. I am perfect. I am bliss itself. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Dear friends, today we are going to discuss this idea of spiritual alchemy. In fact, this word alchemy I had first read in my high school when we were about to start the study of chemistry. And then it was written in the book there that this word chemistry came from alchemy, that chemia. So that is how and there it was mentioned that this alchemy, the ancient people, they were trying to find out by various ways, by different combinations of things, how to find the trick to transform all the baser metals, baser substance into gold, and also to get that elixir, a potion, drinking which one will become immortal. And this is the craze for all of us in a way. Gold stands for money, that whatever I want, I can get if I have sufficient money. That is a mistaken idea, but that is what occupies the minds of people. And that is very clearly depicted, although we may not easily admit it. But that is how we can see that how people run after money. In their practical life, one can see that why is there so much craze for money? It is because money is seen as the substance getting which all our desires will be fulfilled and we will be just full of bliss, full of happiness. That is signified by this gold, that yes, we want gold, and by gold then we will get everything. And then, well, life is momentary, we do not want that, we do not want to die. So we also want some portion, something taking which will become immortal. We don't have to die then. Because even if we say have lot of gold and I am to die next moment, then what is the use of that gold? So therefore, you know that gold, some years back, there was one family, one couple who won the jackpot, a big, something like $5 million. And then newspaper reporters went to interview them, and then they were quite senior old people. So, and she was asked, well, what do you plan to do with $5 million? And she said, well, at our age, we do not plan much, you know. We do not plan much at our age. In fact, I have stopped even buying green bananas. So, therefore, this fear is always there, that I may become very rich, but then the life will just go next moment. So, along with gold, I also have to have something that will make me live forever. So, elixir. So these were the objects that were being searched, and it was thought for a long time that it is just a physical process of combining different things, different materials, and trying to find out some such thing. It is also thought that the things that we have, the materials that we have, they are not pure enough. And if they are purified, then we will get the desired substance from them. And first time this idea that actually in the written material that you find used this word, kimia, that it is by the Islamic Sufi scholar and a Persian and Arabic writer, Al-Ghazali. Al-Ghazali has written many books in Arabic and a few in Persian. His Persian book is Kimia Ye Shahadat. So Shahadat means happiness, Shahadat. So it is it is Alchemy of Happiness. It is, the book gets translated, the title gets translated in English as Alchemy of Happiness. And it is a spiritual treatise to show that how can we get happiness by disciplining our life, making it go deep into faith and prayer. It was considered a transition from a merely rational or intellectual pursuit to combine it with our deep, stable base of faith. So there is faith and there is rationality. So reason. So a combination of these two, that is reason and is to be used to try to understand, but ultimately we get this by faith. So this is a kind of chemistry, means combining the two things, faith and reason. So by that you arrive at the source of our happiness. So this idea you see being expanded in many different religious and spiritual traditions, that yes, we have in us something, and that source of all happiness and all immortality, something that does not go away, that does not pass out, we search for that. In fact, everybody notices this, and in Vedanta, this has been given a particular stress, this aspect of our perception, that there is something that changes, and in the midst of all that which changes, there is something that does not change, on the basis of which we even are able to see the change. For seeing the change also, we have to have an unchanging basis, comparing with which we see that which changes. So, the idea is to, discover that which does not change. And since it does not change, it is immortal. It cannot be, killed. So, and since birth and death are linked, that which cannot die cannot even be born. So, therefore, in Vedanta you find that search, that something that does not change in the midst of all that changing. So, this is a way that is, an alchemy. It is an alchemy. This name to this search has been given in modern times, comparatively modern times, by the well-known psychologist, psychoanalyst Carl Jung. Carl Jung has, in his many works, used this word, alchemy. Alchemy as the science of psychological purification. And let me quote from him. There is his well-known autobiography or virtual autobiography. He didn't go to write autobiography, but then since many of his experiences have been mentioned therein, and therefore it is called virtual autobiography. Memories, Dreams, Reflections. That is the title of that book. So, and I quote from that book, there is a chapter there titled The Work. It is, and it says, when I began to understand alchemy, I realized that it represented a historical link with Gnosticism. Alchemy formed a bridge between Gnosticism, that is past on one hand, and modern psychology of the unconscious. So, alchemy is a bridge, a psychological purification. That is the word that alchemy is used here for, that our being, he has done lot of work on alchemy of psychology, how the mind is purified by this process, and one gets to the core of what he terms as the collective unconscious. There is the conscious, individual conscious plane, there is the individual unconscious, and then there is the collective unconscious. So, it is very similar, though the terminology differs a lot, with the what Vedanta calls the superconscious. Instead of calling unconscious, it is called superconscious, where one becomes truly conscious of one's identity, one's true nature. And so, he says that this is a process of purifying one's psyche. And he continues there that I had very soon seen that analytical psychology coincided in a most curious way with alchemy. He writes that alchemy was really not at all the search for some material gold, but the inner gold, the truth. Another property of gold is that it refuses to get acted upon by most of the acids and such things, and so remains intact. If you have a gold pot, it will not get easily tarnished, or it will not get decayed by anything. So gold, apart from its preciousness, its purity is also very much indicated by that. And also in this gold and the elixir, that unchanging core of our consciousness, that has been the search of alchemy. And here you find that gets reflected either with the similar words or at least for sure the similar processes. That purification. Alchemy really meant the process of purifying. It is also therefore called, the Latin word is magnum opus, the great work. It is the great work of life. What is the purpose of life? What work we have to do? You will see this word has been used in that famous spiritual treatise, Cloud of Unknowing. The author's name is not given, but it is a very famous British mystic's text from 13th century. We had occasion to study it here in our summer classes a few years ago, that Cloud of Unknowing. There also the author says, this is the work of life. Work means that which we do with a purpose in sight. Every activity is not really in that sense called work. Something that is done with a deliberate purpose in mind, that yes, I have to do this, and to achieve this, I am doing this. So there is a purposeful activity is called work. Now the highest purpose of life, what is it? Highest purpose, the ultimate purpose of life is, if we try to say, it is to get to this ultimate happiness and ultimate immortality, that which never ends and that which makes us happy. We want to survive, but we do not want to survive leading a miserable existence. In fact, if there is too much of misery, we want to end the life. I don't want to live in these unhappy situations. So I want certainly a life, but it has also to be a happy life. So this idea is implied in this search for what we want. And so it is the great work. What other works we do, they also, if we analyze, are actually for this purpose. For example, we work to earn money, but what money is for? It is secondary. We want to get certain things, and why do we want those things? Because those things will make me happy. I want to get an iPhone, and for that I want money. Now, as such, money is not important. Suppose somebody gives it to me, then I don't need money. It is, I got the iPhone without spending money, so I don't need money. But again, why do I want iPhone? Because I think I will be happy with that. One doesn't, but still we have the idea that I'll become very happy if I get an iPhone. So if I get happiness without iPhone, then I don't need iPhone for it. So ultimately, what do we need in itself? Then we see that we need happiness. All other things we need for happiness. But why do I need happiness? Well, I need happiness. That's the end. So therefore, this is the work to be happy. It is the most important work, magnum opus. So it is that for that, this alchemy process, purify, and thus you will get to that. It is, you see this very much in the Taoist text, when Taoist text and later on you see Taoism getting combined with the Buddhism when it came to China, and the many tantric rituals. They all actually, if you study closely, they implied this process of purification, that purify your psyche. And there are, since we live at various levels, the sensual, physical level, and then at the level of the mind, at the level of our deep true being, we live on all these three levels. We need the purification process to be applied to all these. So, the Taoist text before what is commonly known as the Chuangzu or even Tao Te Ching, these are known or thought to be the original text of Tao. But about 1,000 years before that, Ni Ye, the inward training, Ni Ye, and this book has been brought out by Professor Harold Roth with lot of beautiful elucidatory notes and commentary. Professor Harold Roth is professor of in the Department of Religious Studies as well as the Contemplative Studies at Brown University. So our Srinivas is here. He can tell you more about it when you see. So it is this book, what it means is inward training. We have to get that training, and that training is, he says that this is like the alchemy to change, to bring about the desired change in our perception. So, let me quote from some of the texts here. Very beautiful, very sublime text, that how this purification process of our inner understanding has to go on. And the word, please note, it is training. The two words, they come together, but they, although they have apparently similar meaning, there is some big difference. Education and training. Education gives us mostly the intellectual understanding. Training is when we practically can implement that education in our life, in our experience. So that is training. That to give a classroom talk on how to play piano is one thing. It is you get educated by that what different keys represent, and so how they are to be pressed, how your fingers are to be moved. Okay, but then you have to be given training, means actually practically you have to be taught as to how to move your fingers, and thus you get trained. So training is this represents the practical side. So this is the process of inward training. So it is a practical thing. We have to do it. It is not just intellectually understanding it, but it is practically doing. So this text says, if you are able to cast off sorrow, happiness, joy, anger, desire, and profit seeking, your mind will just revert to equanimity, the true condition of the mind is that it finds calmness beneficial and by it attains repose. Do not disturb it, do not disrupt it, and harmony will naturally develop. It is that harmony is a natural, actual, spontaneous state, but we disturb it by getting irritated, angry. It is, they are not the natural states, and that is why we don't ask any person, that why you are calm. If somebody is irritated, angry, then only the question comes, why are you angry? Why are you upset? Because that is not the natural state. About natural things we do not ask why, taken for granted. It is, that is why our immortal nature, in essence we are immortal, is also indicated by this. We never ask the question, why are you living? Why are you alive is not asked. Why this person died? How did this person died? Because death somehow or other is considered not natural. That is why the cause of death is probed, not the cause of living. It is considered natural. It is strange, but that is how it shows that life is actually a spontaneous thing. Death is unnatural. And so we need the cause of death. Even when somebody dies, the coroner comes and the cause of the death has to be mentioned. It is failure of heart or what, failure of kidneys. Something has to be mentioned. That is how this person died. Living, why does the fellow lives? Doesn't need to be given a cause. A great Indian mystic, Kabir, he questions that it is, think of it, he says there is a bird kept in a cage, and that cage has 9 doors, all are left wide open. Then it is a wonder that the bird is there. It is not wonder if the bird flies away. It is, so similarly he says that our living is a wonder really, when we have 9 doors, the 9 different holes or organs that we have, and we have kept them all wide open. So how the bird of life stays there is a wonder. It is no wonder that it flies away. But our question is always, why did it fly away, and not why is it staying there? So, which shows that in our innermost awareness, we know that life is eternal, and death is kind of an aberration. So, in the same book, that there is another beautiful quote, I will give that to here. there is a numinous mind, that is one mind. There is oneness. There is a numinous mind naturally residing within. One moment it goes, next it comes, and no one is able to conceive of it. If you lose it, you are inevitably disordered. If you attain it, you are inevitably well ordered. If you attain it, diligently clean out its lodging place, and its vital essence will naturally arrive. Still, your attempts to reflect on it and control it, be reverent and diligent, and its vital essence will naturally stabilize. Grasp it and don't let it go. Then the eyes and ears won't overflow, and the mind will have nothing else to seek. It is, we will have nothing else to seek. It is because we have our eyes, ears, all organs overflowing, the essence is not retained, and thus we have to keep on asking, we have to keep on seeking. So this is, you see this idea in Taoism. In Vedanta, this idea of purification and of trying to take out the essence of our being. You find it in Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. I would give just one quote. It is everywhere, but just as an example, I'll give a very inspiring quote. It is inspiring, and also it indicates the process of how we discover our true self, which is embroiled in that identification with body and mind. We wrongly, mistakenly identify ourselves with changing body, although the body is a cover. We understand that body is a cover, and so we don't identify with the cover. It is, you can call it a vehicle. In Kathopanishad it has been given in a symbolic way. It is called a vehicle too. So our body is a vehicle, and the vehicles are different, like cars, somebody can be driving a Toyota, somebody a BMW, somebody a Mercedes, and then we do not identify ourselves with the car. If somebody is asked that are you Mercedes or are you Toyota? Well, it is the car that is Mercedes or Toyota or Honda something. I am not Mercedes. It is so. Similarly, this body is like a vehicle. I use it, but I am not that. So we have to learn to separate ourselves from the gross body, that is body, physical body, and the subtle body, the mind and so forth. To put it simply, I'll call it just mind. So body and mind, these are two sheets as it were, and we have to take the spirit separated from that. So there is a process of meditation told, and let me quote the verse, very beautiful, that Angushtamatra Purushontaraatma Sada Jananam Hridaye Sannivishtaha, that our true self, imagine, this is for meditation, that think of that self in our heart, and that self is of the size of your thumb. One may say, why so small, why of the size of thumb? Because it has to fit in the heart, Heart is supposed to be, like this size. So that for meditation purposes, Imagine yourself to be seated in that heart. So it has to be angushta matra of the size of the thumb. And then it is always there, always with you, never leaves you, and always awake. Even if you go to sleep, it stays awake. So think of that, meditate on that. And then it has in the process of meditation, what do? Tam swat sharirat pravrihet munjadiva ishikam dhairyena tat shukram amritam. That from one's own body, therefore the word swat sharirat is used, not from somebody else's body, no. It is, you have to, the idea is, this is the process that you have to do with what you think as you are. So, take it out from that. But it has to be done very carefully. So the example, very beautiful example is given that, the grass, it has, look at the fine stem of the grass. Within that stem, there is again an inner stem. Now try to take that inner stem out of that outer stem. It is a very carefully to be done process, that process, because if you try to do it hastily, you will break it. If you are not careful enough, then you will break the whole thing. So this is to be taken out in that manner from our body consciousness or the consciousness that I am mind. Through that, this true self is to be extracted. And it requires this tremendous skill. It is not killing of the body, it is not torturing of the body or deprivation of mind. It is, this is many times seen that the ascetic practices, they unduly focus on torturing the body. Don't feed it, let it fast, and then instead of, putting, keep it in extreme cold or extreme heat. So it is the process just of torturing the body. One should not go after that in the name of spiritual practice. You see how Buddha has condemned that. That is not spirituality. Torturing body, killing the mind is not controlling the mind. Controlling the mind is a different thing than destroying the mind. The body, the mind, they are not to be destroyed. But the self has to be very carefully, dhairyena, with a lot of care, caution, take it out. Means see it separate. See that it is different from body and mind. This is essentially an alchemic process, that purification. See that the body, it is otherwise mixed with this impurity. Body, mind, and I, all mixed. What is what we don't know. It is, I say, I went to India. Well, the body did go probably to India. Did I really go? It is difficult to say. But still I say I went there. The body is sitting here. The mind is somewhere else. So the mind goes, but we may say that I didn't go anywhere. I was all the time in the lecture hall. Was I? Just ask yourself, was I there? So we get identified with different things, and thus do not understand who I really am. So this is a process of purification. Who am I? And this alchemic process, sometimes, in tantric text, especially in Vedanta and Tantra, it is called that rising of the Kundalini. Kundalini is a symbolic presentation of all the power that we have, coiled like a spring, it is coiled. It is, and then there is all that energy is potentially there. So we have all power potentially in us. It is at the lowest level. It has not it is not functioning much there. It is therefore depicted at the level of anus. And then it is, there one is just like a dead matter. The power is there, the consciousness is there, but it is not seen as such. You do not see that if you talk to the chair, it is replying back to you. No, it does not. So it is, at that level, it is kind of, one is just matter, dead matter. There is just existence without any awareness. Then it rises, there is then the awareness of, the eating, and then this procreation, running after things. It is depicted as symbolically as in line on the spinal column, in line with the procreative organ. So this procreating organ, and that it is connected. This is common with all humans as well as animals. Everybody has these things. With man, a different thing then rises, that I want to enjoy more and more. I want to get many things. I want to explore the nature. I want to get control over all the natural powers. And then that develops, art and science, education and all that. This is a very special human trait. You do not see the crows having their university, for education. No. It is human beings, they learn, try to educate themselves. So this is, and thus they develop so much of the different avenues of enjoyment. It is all these different avenues of enjoyment, money and the other such things, the social structure of all that, the politics, you see it all depicted as human achievement. It is shown symbolically at the level of navel. When the Kundalini rises up to that, then you get all the worldly powers, so to say. So it is many of the demons, they had their Kundalini risen to the level of this navel, and so they could control everything. Ravana it is shown that his Kundalini had risen up to navel. But it is, nothing is still spiritual, so to say. It is shown that after this, the awareness starts making its presence, that, well, but who am I? What is, and then it is that question starts becoming more and more prominent. So, and that is where it is called the seat of consciousness has risen up to heart. And then it separates itself and sees that I am different from anything that changes. I am the unchanging essence. So it is then shown at the level of this neck. So, and then it purifies further. You actually are able to realize it. It is shown in the middle of the eyebrows. It has become now, it has realized it almost. Almost means, like suppose, just to give you an analogy, if you want to come to Vedanta Society and you are driving, say like our Anne driving from Lincoln, and then all that coming close, and then, hey, you turn on the Angel Street and you see it, but you have still not reached actually. You see it, but you say, hey, we have arrived, here it is. You are maybe still in the parking lot, you have not got into the building. So it is like that, the awareness is almost there. And after that it cannot be described, it is called, it reaches the head. So this is also a process of alchemy, that transform and purify oneself. As one goes through this process of purification, one realizes the ultimate bliss and immortality. Thank you, friends. We will meditate for a few seconds again on that innermost being. And then if you have any questions to ask, feel free to ask. Yes, is there a question? Is there any question? Oh, you have a question, Anna?
What was the name of the book again that you were quoting from?
This is Original Tao by Professor Harold Roth. So since there are no questions, Oh, there is an internet question, okay. Because this is live webcast, people can ask questions from that side as well. Please read out. Atma and spirit. How? Oh, Atma, soul and spirit are the same. In different contexts, these words are used differently. So, ultimately, when you reach the goal, they are same. But otherwise, these words have different connotations. The spirit is how we look at the non-material essence. That is the original meaning of the word spirit. So it is, that is why the spiritual search means going to the immaterial essence of us. It is, that is the meaning of the word spirit. Atma is the word used in Vedanta, which means whatever we understand by the word self or I. At different level of awareness, our understanding is different. And therefore, the word Atma, when we finally get to the essence of it, then it is, the word is, reveals its meaning as the all-pervading Brahman, or the all-pervading blissful existence. That is the meaning of this word Atma when we discover it. Otherwise, the word Atma, when it is identified with body or mind, it is what is called in English the word soul. So soul and Atma, soul and Atma are same when we identify ourselves with body or mind. So even when we identify, still we feel that there is something different from body, different from mind that is there. That is where we see our language. We say my body, not I body. What does it indicate? That I am different from body, like my book. I am not the book. I own that book, that's it. So my house. So similarly my body. So we even there feel that there is I different from body. But still it gets mixed up, identified, and therefore that embodied being is also called soul or Atman or Jiva. When you find out who this Atman is, then you come to the ultimate truth about it, and then that is given in the famous Vedanta equation that Atman is same as Brahman. So that is the answer to that question. Thank you for the question. So while Vishwanath is doing his offertory, let me tell you about the upcoming programs. Coming week, the Tuesday and Friday classes at 7:30 p.m. will go on as usual. Tuesday, the topic is Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. Friday, the topic is Jnana Yoga. Coming Sunday, we have a wonderful guest speaker, Tushar Puranik. He is actually a global business consultant, and he is a very close devotee, a very serious student of Vedanta literature, and especially Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature. He will be speaking on a well-known theme given by Swami Vivekananda, Arise, Awake. That also is actually from Kathopanishad, Arise, Awake, Uttishtata, Jagrata. So he will be speaking next Sunday on that. There is an upcoming retreat. It is still there is time. It is April 28, Saturday, April 28, a day-long retreat by Swami Sarva Priyananda. He is a very well-known Swami. His lectures are highly appreciated by a vast number of audience everywhere. He is an internationally known Swami, although he doesn't travel much internationally. His lectures travel all over. So it is thousands of people have been listening to his lectures on YouTube and such platforms. So he will be giving this retreat, and the topic that he has chosen for this day-long retreat is Vedantic meditation. Of course, you have to register to attend that retreat. And I will now conclude with our regular closing prayers. May the divine, you can recite this prayer with me. Let us do it together. May the divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Now there will be Arati.